I sat in the back row of the theater, holding 2 milk teas. They were still warm, steaming slightly, her favorite caramel macchiatos. I'd specifically asked the barista for extra caramel. She always complained this place didn't make them sweet enough. When I left, she'd said she needed to study her script today and couldn't join me for the movie. Right now, she was supposed to be at home, script in hand, memorizing lines. But there she was. My wife, Soo-won, was sitting 5 rows ahead of me. Beside her was her mentor, Chun Min-yuan. In the dim theater light, I saw her head resting on his shoulder. They were whispering, laughing softly now and then. On the screen, an art film played out, a story of betrayal and redemption between lovers. How ironic. My eyes were fixed on that familiar back in front of me. She was wearing that beige knit cardigan, the one I gave her for her birthday last year. I'd specifically chosen the softest cashmere because she'd mentioned needing something warm for long waits on set during winter shoots. Now, this gift, once filled with warmth and affection, was the outfit for her affair. I saw Chun Min-yuan's hand rest on her waist. Not only did she not pull away, she leaned further into him. Suddenly, she lifted her head, and their lips met. My hand trembled slightly. Milk tea spilled onto my pants, the scalding liquid snapping me back to reality. What a perfect pair. One, an acclaimed, award-winning director. The other, a rising young actress. That kind of pairing was hardly news in the entertainment industry. But she was my wife. 3 years married, and I never imagined seeing something like this in a movie theater. I thought our marriage would last forever happy. I sat there quietly, watching the two of them wrapped up in each other. I wished it was all a nightmare, that I'd wake up and everything would vanish. Unfortunately, this wasn't a dream. When the end credits rolled and the lights came up slightly, I saw her stand up. Chun Min-yuan naturally took her bag. His arm around her waist, they walked towards the exit, talking and laughing. I took out my phone and switched on the video recorder. The light was dim, but it was enough to clearly capture their intimate figures from behind. Only after they had left the auditorium did I get up. Passing a trash can on the way out, I threw the 2 still warm milk teas inside. It was already 9 p.m. when I got home. The living room lights were off. Seemed she wasn't back yet. I switched on the light and saw her script lying on the coffee table. Flipping to the first page, the dense annotations showed she had indeed spent a lot of time studying the role. Except, she hadn't been studying her role at home. She'd been cozying up with her director in a movie theater. I sat down on the sofa and lit a cigarette. This was our home. We'd chosen every piece of furniture together. In the 3 years since we married, we'd made this place warm and comfortable. Through the swirling smoke, memories surfaced. I first met her at a psychology seminar. I was giving a talk on occupational stress as a psychologist, and she was in the audience. Back then, she was just an unknown extra, a bit player who never even got a close-up. After the talk, she approached me for a consultation, saying the pressure of acting was causing her anxiety and insomnia. I remember how she looked then. No makeup, wearing a simple white t-shirt, looking so young and earnest. Later, she became a regular client, and we gradually grew closer. Eventually, we fell in love, moved in together, got married. In just a few short years, she went from being an unknown bit player to a reasonably well-known young actress. I thought we would walk through life together like this. But now, everything had changed. Taking out my phone, I watched the video I'd recorded earlier again. The lighting wasn't great, but their figures were unmistakable. Especially the image of them kissing. It stung my eyes. I stubbed out the cigarette in the ashtray and went into the study. As a psychologist, I was acutely aware of my own mental state. Anger, betrayal, loss, a storm of negative emotions churned inside me. But I had to stay calm. Opening my laptop, I started searching online for information about Chun Min-yuan. This acclaimed director, well known in the industry, didn't exactly have a stellar reputation. He was notorious for leveraging the casting couch, but because his films consistently won awards, no one dared expose him. He and Soo-won had worked together on a film a few years ago, her first major role. That movie launched her from obscurity to fame practically overnight. At the time, I was thrilled for her, thinking she'd finally made her breakthrough. Looking back now, maybe that's when everything started to change. My fingers tapped on the keyboard, searching for anything I could find about them. Soon, fragments of information started connecting. Starting last year, Soo-won and Chun Min-yuan began collaborating much more frequently. Not just films, but also commercial events. And after every event, they would dine alone together. Paparazzi had caught them a few times, but because he was seen as her benefactor, her mentor, people didn't read too much into it. But thinking about it now, she really had been different these past 6 months. She used to be so clingy, always wanting to be close to me. Lately, though, she always claimed she needed to immerse herself in her roles, spending less time at home. Even our intimacy had dwindled. Every time I initiated anything, she'd say she was tired. Opening my phone's photo album, I realized there were barely any pictures of us together from the last 6 months. There were, however, quite a few of her and Chun Mingyuan, mostly from events. In those photos, her smile looked happier, brighter than it ever did at home. I saved all of them. Time slipped by. It was late, and she still wasn't back. I sent her a message, "Why so late tonight?" She replied quickly. Got totally absorbed in the script, just realized how late it is. Heading back now. I let out a cold laugh. Even when cheating, she had to craft the perfect excuse. 20 minutes later, the sound of the key turning in the lock broke the silence. She tiptoed in, seeming to freeze for a second when she saw the living room light was still on. "Honey, why are you still up?" Her voice was soft as always, but laced with a hint of guilt. I looked up at her. She was still wearing the beige cardigan, her makeup flawless. Seeing her like this, she seemed like a completely different person from the woman in the theater this afternoon. "Waiting for you," I said with a smile. "How'd the script study go?" "It was okay," she said, coming over and sitting down beside me. "This role is challenging. I still need to dig deeper." I nodded. "So, did director Chen Mingyuan give you any pointers?" Her body visibly tensed for a moment before she quickly composed herself. "I didn't see him. I was home studying the script all day. Just stepped out for a bit to find some inspiration." "Is that so?" I pulled my phone from my pocket. "Then who are the people in this video?" The color instantly drained from her face. 5 minutes later, Soo-won was still sitting rigidly on the sofa. On the screen, the video of her and Chun Mingyuan's intimate moments played on repeat. "Now, do you have anything else to say?" I asked coldly. Her lips trembled, tears streamed down her cheeks. "Honey, I can explain." "Explain what?" "Explain making out with another man in a movie theater? Or explain all your lies recently?" Watching her panic-stricken face, a wave of disgust washed over me. "It's not what you think." She grabbed my hand. "Mingyuan and we were just rehearsing a scene." I shook her hand off. "Does rehearsing a scene require kissing in a theater? Does it require him holding your waist?" She finally fell silent, just lowering her head and sobbing. Tears ruined her makeup, making her look utterly wretched. "When did it start?" I forced myself to remain calm. She was silent for a long time before speaking. "Last year, when filming started for that drama." "Just as I thought." I nodded. "So, you've been cheating on me behind my back for the past year?" "No, it wasn't like that." She looked up, her eyes pleading. "At first, we really just had a normal director-actor relationship. But later he was very good to me, often guiding my acting, taking me to various dinners." "And then you threw yourself into the mix too?" I said sarcastically. She bit her lip. "I know I've wronged you, but I really do love you." "Love me?" I scoffed. "Were you loving me when you were sleeping with another man behind my back?" "I didn't," she cried out agitatedly. "Mingyuan and we never had that kind of relationship." I stood up from the sofa, looking down at her. "Do you think I believe that?" With that, I opened my phone's photo album and swiped through picture after picture. "Last October, you two had dinner together until the early morning. This February, filming in Hongyan, you were still in his RV late at night. In April, you went on a business trip together, staying on the same hotel floor. Are you going to explain all of this as rehearsing scenes too?" Her face grew paler and paler. You've been investigating me." "No, I only started looking through these things today," I said coolly. "Did you know? As a therapist, my greatest strength is analyzing human behavior. I've seen all your recent abnormalities. I just didn't want to believe the worst." She lunged forward, hugging my legs. "Honey, please forgive me. I truly know I was wrong. I'll never see him again." I let her hold on to me, my voice terrifyingly calm. "Do you know what I hate the most?" She looked up, her face tear-streaked. "I hate being lied to the most," I said word by word. "For these past 3 years, I gave you my whole heart. But you acted like a loving couple in public while fooling around with another man behind my back. Do you think a marriage like this is worth continuing?" "No." She broke down completely, sobbing. "Honey, please give me one more chance. I really know I was wrong. I'll definitely treat you well from now on." I bent down and wiped the tears from her face. "It's too late." Finished speaking, I turned and walked into the study, retrieving a document. It was the divorce agreement I'd had a lawyer draft that afternoon. "Take a look." I tossed the file onto the coffee table. "You committed adultery during our marriage, so you should leave with nothing. But I'm giving you 5% of the assets. Consider it payment for sharing my bed all these years. If you find the terms acceptable, sign it." Her hand trembled as she picked up the document. After glancing at it, she threw it on the floor. No, I don't want a divorce. Honey, just forgive me this once, okay? I promise I'll never make this mistake again. I picked up the papers from the floor, my tone level. Do you remember our wedding vows? You said you would love only me for your entire life. Looking back, that promise seems just as hollow as the one you're making now. She threw her arms around me again. No, I truly love you. It's just, I was so lost back then. Lost enough to find another man outside. I pushed her away with a sneer. All right, stop acting. Isn't acting what you do best? Did you practice this damsel in distress routine with Chunming Yuan? She froze, tears flowing uncontrollably. How could you become so cruel? Me cruel? I laughed. If I were the one who had betrayed this marriage, what would you do? Would you forgive me? She couldn't answer. So, let's not talk about forgiveness. I held the divorce agreement out to her. Sign it. Don't waste any more time. She looked up at me, her eyes filled with despair. Is there really no chance to fix this? None, I said definitively. The moment you betrayed me, this marriage was already over. 3 a.m. Suwon finally signed the divorce papers. Her eyes were red and swollen from crying, and the hand holding the pen wouldn't stop trembling. But I knew it was just another one of her performances. I'll have my lawyer notarize the agreement, then we'll finalize the divorce, I said, gathering the documents. You can take your time packing your things. I'll be staying at a hotel for the next few days. She sat on the sofa like a soulless doll. Are you really going to be this cruel? I couldn't help but laugh. Who's the cruel one? Was I the one who abandoned this marriage, or were you the one who betrayed us? She lowered her head, saying nothing more. I turned and went back to the room to pack. This home was filled with our memories, but looking back now, they all felt like a bitter mockery. After packing my essentials, I walked out of the room with my suitcase. Suwon was still in the same position. Only her shoulders were trembling slightly. Oh, right. I stopped at the door. About you and Chunming Yuan. I won't make it public. It would affect my professional reputation too, after all. She looked up. But if you two plan on going public, you'd better wait until the divorce is finalized, I said coldly. Otherwise, I wouldn't mind letting everyone know just how you two really got together. Her face instantly turned deathly pale. You don't tell anyone. It'll ruin my career. I looked at her scornfully. Scared now? Why didn't you think about the consequences when you were messing around with him? Please. She knelt and started crawling towards me. Please don't say anything. I'll do anything you ask. I took a step back in disgust. Get up. Stop the theatrics. You love acting, don't you? Why is this performance so terrible? She froze, fresh tears rolling down her cheeks. Don't worry. I keep my word. I pulled up the handle on my suitcase. As long as you behave yourself, I won't expose anything. But if you try to pull any stunts, I won't, she said hastily. I'll do exactly as you say. Good. I nodded. That's settled then. Dragging my suitcase, I walked out of the apartment without looking back. In the elevator, I took out my phone and sent a text to Chunming Yuan. Director, pleasure working with you. It wasn't long before he replied. Who is this? I smirked, sent him the video I'd taken that afternoon, and then turned off my phone. Outside the complex, the early autumn night air felt cool. I hailed a cab and headed straight for a hotel downtown. In the car, I reflected on the absurd events of the day. From going out to buy milk tea that morning to preparing for divorce now, only a dozen hours or so had passed. This marriage felt like an elaborately staged deception, and I was the fool who'd been kept in the dark the entire time. But now it was over. At the hotel, I checked into a room. Lying on the bed, I pulled out my phone and saw several missed calls, all from Suwon. I blocked her number, then messaged my assistant, telling her to reschedule all my clinic appointments for tomorrow. Putting the phone down, I stared at the unfamiliar ceiling and suddenly laughed. It was all so ridiculous. I had loved a woman for 3 years without ever truly knowing who she was. But now, I finally saw her true colors. Next, it was time to settle the score. A week later, I returned to the clinic. Dr. Lin, have you been all right lately? My assistant, Xiao Zhang, asked hesitantly. She clearly noticed something off about me the past few days. I forced a smile. I'm fine. Just needed some time to adjust. How are the appointments scheduled for today? They're all confirmed. 3 this morning, 2 this afternoon. She handed me the schedule, then hesitated before adding, Oh, right. Miss Sue stopped by yesterday. I know. I cut her off. If she comes again, just tell her I'm not in. Xiao Zhang nodded, asking no more questions. Having been my assistant for years, she knew when to keep quiet. Sitting in my consultation room, I opened my laptop to check my emails. One caught my eye. The sender was a reporter from an entertainment news outlet. Dr. Lin, we heard there might be trouble between you and Ms. Suwon. Would you be available for a chat? A cold smirk touched my lips. It seemed Chun Mingyuan had gotten my warning. That famous director, always one for a preemptive strike. He must be afraid I'd leak the scandal, trying to pressure me this way. Too bad for him. He picked the wrong opponent. I deleted the email and opened another folder. Inside was the intel I'd gathered recently. Chun Mingyuan's travel logs, compromising photos of him with various actresses and testimonies about him from industry insiders. I'd paid paparazzi and media contacts good money for all of it. It cost a fortune, but it was worth every penny. One file, in particular, detailed his history of coercing actresses for roles. Many victims were willing to testify, but no media outlet had dared to break the story. I organized the files and sent a text to a specific number. It's almost time. The reply came quickly. Understood. Putting down my phone, I checked the time. My first patient would be arriving soon. Over the next few days, I stuck to my routine, seeing patients during the day, studying the files in my hotel room at night. Suwon kept calling and texting relentlessly, but I'd blocked her number. Then, on the third night, the news I'd been waiting for finally broke. An expose about Chun Mingyuan exploded online. The whistleblower was an actress he had previously coerced, who provided substantial evidence, including recordings, text messages, and photos. I lay on the hotel bed, sipping red wine and scrolling through the news feed. Soon, more victims started coming forward. Chun Mingyuan's dirty laundry was being aired out, piece by piece. Public opinion online turned overwhelmingly against him, demanding accountability. Late that night, Suwon sent me a text. "This was you, wasn't it?" I didn't reply. The scandal surrounding Chun Mingyuan escalated. Production on his new film ground to a halt, investors pulled out, and brands terminated their partnerships with him. As his rumored lover, Suwon inevitably got caught in the crossfire. People online dug up photos of her and Chun Mingyuan together, and rumors even surfaced that she'd slept her way to the top. Around noon, she called me again. This time I answered. "Why are you doing this to me?" she sobbed. "You know this will ruin my career." "Have I done anything?" I retorted. "Isn't this director Chen's own mess?" She choked on her words. "You're clearly getting revenge on me." "Revenge?" I scoffed. "I'm just making sure those who deserve it pay the price. Weren't you so in love with him? Now that he's in trouble, why aren't you helping him?" "I never loved him." She cried harder. "It was just a moment of weakness. Husband, please help me. I don't want to lose everything I have." Pathetic. My voice was ice cold. "Did you ever think you might lose all this when you betrayed me? Suwon, this is your karma." With that, I hung up and continued watching events unfold. By evening, Chun Mingyuan held a press conference, attempting to clear his name. But more evidence surfaced, completely blocking any path to redemption. That night, his studio announced an indefinite hiatus. Suwon, too, was swept into the vortex of public opinion. She was recast in all her leading roles, and her endorsements were canceled. But that wasn't enough. I opened my laptop and sent another file I'd collected to the media. This was a video of Chun Mingyuan coercing a newcomer on set. Though the footage wasn't crystal clear, it was enough to prove his predatory behavior. The video went viral. There was no way for Chun Mingyuan to whitewash this. His career was utterly destroyed, and Suwon, due to her association with him, was torn to shreds by netizens. Her Weibo comments section was flooded with vitriol, calling her shameless, branding her homewrecker. She called me several more times, but I ignored them all. For the first time in days, I felt a grim satisfaction. Watching that despicable pair get torn apart by public opinion, a thrill of vengeance surged within me. On the fifth day, Suwon appeared at my clinic door. She wore no makeup, dressed in simple clothes, looking utterly haggard. But I knew she was a master at playing the victim. "What are you doing here?" I asked coldly. "Husband," she cried. "I know I was wrong. Please forgive me. I don't want anything anymore. Just please help me." I looked at her pitiful act and suddenly found it laughable. "So now you come crawling back to me? Realized director Chen isn't so reliable after all." She dropped to her knees. "No, I really know I was wrong. I never loved him. The one I've always loved is you." "Enough," I said with disgust. "Your acting skills have certainly improved, but I'm not buying it." "I'm not acting." She clung to my leg. "Husband, please give me one more chance. I really can't live without you." I leaned down, looking right at her. "Do you know? Seeing you like this just makes me sick." She looked as if she'd been struck by lightning, frozen in place. "Get out," I said. "Stop embarrassing yourself here." The scandal surrounding Chun Mingyuan was explosive. The once celebrated, award-winning director was now a public enemy, hunted like a rat in the streets. His films were pulled from theaters, production companies sued him for breach of contract, and major brands dropped him one after another. And Suwon? She had fallen completely from grace. Her Weibo account was swamped. The comment section filled with nothing but vitriol. Every partner cut ties, and even her own management agency announced they were terminating her contract. Meanwhile, I carried on seeing patients at my clinic as usual, as if none of it concerned me. Until that afternoon, when Shin Mingyuan showed up. "You must be gloating, aren't you?" he snarled, sitting across from me, his face contorted with fury. I looked at him calmly. "Director Chun, what are you implying?" "Stop pretending," he sneered. "Aren't you the one behind all this? Do you have proof?" I countered. He shot to his feet, pointing a finger right at my face. "You sick psycho. Just because Suwon doesn't love you anymore, you decide to destroy her like this." I stood up too, meeting his furious gaze. "Director Chun, watch your words. Your habit of coercing actresses into sleeping with you is your business. What does it have to do with me?" "You," his face turned livid. "You've ruined my career." "Oh," I chuckled softly. "When you were forcing yourself on all those actresses, did you ever stop to think this day might come?" He lunged, trying to strike me, but I easily shoved him away. "Director Chun, I suggest you calm down." I smoothed my clothes. "There are security cameras here. If you resort to violence, I wouldn't mind leaking another juicy story to the media." He collapsed back into the chair, defeated. "What is it you really want?" "What could I possibly want?" I shot back. "You two did something shameful, and now it's out in the open. Isn't this perfectly normal?" "You're insane," he ground out through clenched teeth. "Don't you realize you'll destroy Suwon?" "And," I replied coldly, "when she betrayed me, wasn't she destroying me too?" He stared, momentarily stunned, before a mocking smile spread across his lips. "You act all high and mighty, but deep down, you're more vicious than either of us." "Yes," I admitted readily. "I am vicious. You two love putting on a show, don't you? Then keep acting. Let's see who gets the last laugh." He stood up, his eyes filled with cold malice. "You'll regret this." "We'll see," I said with a faint smile. He slammed the door on his way out. I sat back down and called my assistant. "Make a backup of the security footage from the last few minutes." Back at the hotel that evening, I received an anonymous text. "Lin Shu, don't push things too far." I knew it was Shin Mingyuan, but I wasn't worried. He could barely save himself now. What kind of trouble could he possibly stir up? Then, more news broke online. Someone released intimate photos of Chun Mingyuan with other actresses, including Suwon. In the pictures, taken in a private setting, they were locked in passionate kisses, the scenes undeniably steamy. This time, Suwon was well and truly finished. She texted me, "You released those, didn't you? You're deliberately trying to ruin me." I replied, "Don't you love acting? Now you have the perfect stage. Why aren't you performing?" She had no response. The storm raged for nearly a month. Chun Mingyuan was completely blacklisted in the entertainment industry. Rumor had it he was planning to emigrate. And Suwon, once a celebrated actress, was now universally reviled as a homewrecker. One evening, she found me again. She was drunk this time, blocking my path at the hotel entrance. "Are you satisfied now?" she slurred, swaying unsteadily. "Everything I had is ruined. Are you happy?" I looked at her impassively. "Didn't you bring this upon yourself? You've really changed." She sobbed, tears streaming down her face. "You used to be so gentle. Now you're terrifying." "Yes, I've changed," I said, a humorless smile touching my lips. "And isn't it all thanks to you?" She lunged at me, intending to hit me, but stumbled in her drunken state and fell heavily to the ground. Hotel security started forward, but I waved them off. "Suwon," I said, crouching down to look her in the eye, "did you know? I could have chosen a dignified divorce, pretended none of this ever happened. But the two of you were too greedy. You wanted to play me for a fool. So this is your retribution." She lay crumpled on the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. "Please, help me. I swear I know I was wrong." "It's too late." I stood up, towering over her. "You chose this path. Now you walk it alone." Suwon completely lost it. She started posting long essays online, claiming I abused her, calling me a controlling psychopath. She painted our marriage as a living hell, claiming she only cheated because she couldn't stand my control. Reading these posts, I couldn't help but laugh. What a ridiculous script. She thought this would turn the tables, but she didn't realize it only made her look more pathetic. Soon enough, people started picking holes in her story. Former patients from my clinic came forward, testifying that I had always been a gentle and patient psychologist. Our neighbors also testified about how loving we seemed together. Her lies fell apart on their own. That afternoon, she came to see me again. This time, she looked completely haggard, her eyes bloodshot. "You won," she said. "I've lost everything. I continued organizing patient files. And, please, she knelt on the floor. Help me, won't you? If you just say a few words for me, I still have a chance. Do you think that's possible? I looked up. You betrayed me, and now you want my help? Do you think I'm some kind of saint? I know I was wrong. She sobbed, tears streaming down her face. I really know I was wrong. I shouldn't have betrayed you. I sneered. You don't regret betraying me. You regret not picking a better backer. She froze. Suwon. I looked straight into her eyes. Did you know? From the moment you betrayed me, I saw right through you. You're not a good person at all. You're just an opportunist. Too bad you placed a wrong bet. She collapsed onto the floor. You're so cruel. Yes, I am cruel. I stood up, looking down at her. But Suwon, you forced me into this. If you hadn't betrayed me, I would never have become like this. So, this is how you get your revenge? She suddenly burst into hysterical laughter. Don't you know I have nothing left now? My career is ruined. My reputation is trash. I have nothing. So what? I said coldly. Don't you love acting? Isn't this kind of life perfect for you to keep playing your part? She froze for a second, then lunged at me like a madwoman. Lin Shu, I hate you. I hate you. I easily dodged her attack, watching her fall to the floor. Hate me then, I said. The deeper your hatred, the more successful my revenge. With that, I turned and left, shutting her screams behind the door. That was the last time we ever met. A week later, I saw in the news that Chun Mingyuan had been found dead in his home. The killer was Suwon. After killing him, she had chosen to kill herself too. The police found her suicide note at the scene. It read, "This is all my retribution." I was seeing a patient at the clinic when I heard the news. Dr. Lin, are you all right? My assistant asked worriedly. I smiled faintly. I'm fine. Give me a cup of coffee, please. Yes, I was fine, because this revenge had finally reached its perfect conclusion. I just didn't know if the gentle, kind Lin Shu of the past had disappeared forever along with this revenge. But what did that matter? In this world, who isn't a villain, anyway?